Hola a todos, sean bienvenidos a la semana número 4 del Meduso apesta la guitarra. Yo soy el Meduso y apesto en la guitarra. En esta semana finalmente avanzamos a una nueva lección, donde aprendemos un acorde nuevo y fracasamos en un par de nuevas canciones. Y como siempre, antes de empezar, quiero agradecerles a todos por su tiempo y atención. Sin más por el momento, los dejo con el video.
Choices that we've got with those three chords becomes huge all of a sudden. So it's a lot of fun. So this is what an E chord looks like. It's actually a pretty cool one because we don't have to worry about not strumming any strings. We're going to strum all 6 strings for this chord. Now, as usual, we're going to start with the first finger. First finger is going to go down right next to the fret in the first fret on the 3rd string. So 1, 2, 3 in the 1st fret. Then we're going to put second a little bit back, and that's the 2nd fret of the 5th string, the 2nd finger string. And then 3rd finger is going to go down right next to the fret there on the 4th string. So the 2nd and 3rd fingers are in the same fret. That's why I said to you, if you put your 2nd finger down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eventually, so let me play it for you first of all. It looks like this. Now, if I was playing it for real, I might use different fingers. I'd probably be more likely to go. And just feeling that, and you feel like you can plow on and practice every day, then that's great. Don't feel pressured to, but you know, you have to kind of feel it out on your own way for how much practice time you actually put in. I have heard about a few people. One note. One thing you might find is if you let your first finger kind of rest on the strings a little bit. When it's not playing or when it's playing that note, I'm letting the edge of my first finger touch on all of the strings, so it just ends up muting them a little bit. So if they were accidentally ringing out, touching them ever so lightly with the first finger, it's going to mute them all for you. So you might find that helpful. Don't worry about trying to do it fast. If you're going like this, that's totally fine as well.
No, fuck. La. Eso fue horrible. $18, $19, $20, $21, $22, $23, $24, $25. Dos, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. ¿Cómo es el tema verdadero? Mucho más rápido. No, ni a putazos. Fuera de... Venga, venga.